And in the beginning of it all, a girl Lily, a woman named, wakes up her teammate, Zenos, to have breakfast. And at the table, Lily explains a little more about how a healer works and their abilities. In this case, a healer is considered third-rate if he only knows how to heal wounds, while one who heals and comforts is known as a second-rate healer. And as for the first-rate healer, he is the one who can make the world a better place. And with that said, Lily informs that the history of the kingdom of Herzith, where she resides, is intertwined with healers. After all, the contribution of this class of people helped to expand the territory, giving them a position of real importance. And as for the kingdom's hospital, the place serves as a meeting point where healers go to learn sophisticated healing magic, as only after receiving a license can they begin their journey as healers. And in Zenos' case, he is a young man who has not received a formal education, therefore, he does not have a license to practice healing. But still, the young man risks working as an underground healer, being compensated monetarily in an undue way. Well, one day, Zenos leaves for a housework job, and in the meantime, Lily stays at home preparing dinner for when the young man returns. And suddenly, Carmela, another member of the group, returns home and gets excited when she sees that the girl is preparing stew. At this, Lily says that those household chores can always be left to her. After all, Lily intends to marry Zenos someday, and that's why she is already training in advance. Upon hearing this, Carmela praises the girl's hard work and then decides to go rest in her room. Then, Zofia appears there asking for Zenos, to which Lily informs her that he went out for a house call, which leaves Zofia slightly upset. After all, she wanted to have him for the rest of that day. And then, another member of the group, called Linga, returns home with the same intention of finding Zenos. However, Lily also tells her about the work that the boy is doing at home. And as for Zofia, she informs Linga that she is already on the waiting list. Therefore, she tells Linga to go back home, because when Zenos returns to the base, she is the one who will have him. Upon hearing this, Linga obviously begins to argue with Zofia, and then Lily enters the middle of the discussion, saying that she is the one who has the role of being by Zenos' side. And well, the girls' discussion is interrupted by the sound of the door being destroyed, at which point, Lo goes to Lily also asking for Zenos. And as soon as everyone sits down at the table, Lily notices that the girls intend to stay for dinner with Zenos, and then asks them to keep an eye on the pot while she does other household chores. And suddenly, the girls start to be attracted by the smell of the food and decide to eat before Zenos arrives. In this, Lo takes the initiative, taking the first spoonful. And as for Linga, she decides to do the same, but she convinces herself that she is not eating anything secretly, but rather doing a taste test. However, this taste test gets a little out of control, with both girls eating all the food. And meanwhile, Zofia stands from afar watching the two and starts to fight, saying that Lily will be mad at them. But when she smells the food, she decides to attack it too, giving the excuse that she will only try the food to find out Zenos' food preferences. And while the three attack the pot, Lily hangs the clothes to dry and then lies down on the grass and starts thinking about Zenos, hoping that he will come home early. And well, after a few more minutes, the three girls finish eating all the food, and only after doing so do they realize that they have gotten themselves into a real mess. At this, Linga tries to get out of it, saying that it was only the other two girls who attacked the food, but upon hearing this, Zofia mocks her, asking if she got amnesia out of nowhere, since the girl also ate with them. At this, Linga realizes that this is a good excuse, and says that she does indeed have amnesia. And as soon as they hear this, Zofia and Lo go headfirst into this plan, and decide that they will fake amnesia when Lily returns, but for now, they start preparing another round of food. But before they could put this idea into practice, Lily shows up just in time and asks them to explain what's going on there. At this point, the girls start to pretend to have amnesia, but Lily immediately notices the three girls' bad intentions and bangs on the table, asking for a clear explanation. At this point, Zofia decides to come clean and says that she was actually attracted by the smell of the food and couldn't resist. As for the other two girls, they decide to do the same, coming clean once and for all. But in the middle of the conversation, the three girls start to argue, and then Lily reminds them that Zenos wouldn't like to see them fighting. And besides, Lily opens a sad expression on her face and says that she would have really liked to have had the meal with Zenos and the girls, something that didn't happen, since they decided to eat alone. Upon hearing this, the three feel bad for what they did and offer to help Lily prepare a new dinner so that they can eat together. However, Lily says that they only had ingredients for dinner that day, which means that they can't do anything about it. And suddenly, in the middle of the argument, Carmela returns to the girls, and upon discovering that the three of them ate Lily's stew that she was eager to try, Carmela becomes angry with them. She then wonders what punishment to give the girls, and suggests making a stew with their souls. But before she can take this drastic action, the three girls kneel down begging for forgiveness. As for Lily, Lily. She asks the girls to bring her more ingredients so she can prepare dinner. Upon hearing this, Linga immediately offers to bring her everything she needs, and the other girls say the same, and so the three go out in search of the ingredients for dinner. And when she is alone with Lily, Carmelon notices that the girl is calmer than usual and says that she should have been more angry with the three of them. However, Lily says that she was not angry at all, as she is mature enough to deal with this kind of thing. And meanwhile, Zenos returns home, but on the way he sees a slave being punished by her master after running away to go to the hospital. He then takes her to a cemetery, where he begins to beat her even more, and after being satisfied, he turns his back to leave, but is struck by the slave right after. He then begins to bleed, and begins to run desperately asking for help, until he ends up coming across Zenos and asks for his help, saying that his slave went crazy and started attacking him out of nowhere. But upon hearing this, Zenos begins to interrogate him to find out what he did to the slave. However, the man changes the subject, saying that they were just doing their daily work in agriculture. And while the guy lies trying to convince Zenos to help him, the slave comes after him to finish what he started. However, Zenos saves the man and asks her what made her so violent. At that, the girl starts to attack him, but Zenos calmly defends himself from the blows he receives. Upon seeing that the boy is really skilled, the slave's owner asks him to kill her. However, Zenos informs him that he does not work committing murders. At this, the man reminds him that he is an aristocrat, so if Zenos does nothing to stop the girl, he will end up being killed. And in her case, since she is a slave, she can easily be killed. After all, he just needs to replace her later by buying a new slave. But even hearing this, Zenos continues to refuse to accept the man's request and says that his way of living is trying to save as many people as possible, so killing is not in his plans under any circumstances. And well, at the end of the fight, Zenos notices that the girl was actually possessed by an entity, and so he uses his healing power to purge the evil from the girl and heal her wounds. After that, he calls it a day. The slave owner reminds him that he is also injured and needs help. However, Zenos says that he is done with his duties for the day, which means that he will only get medical care the next day. But upon hearing this, the man reminds him that he is seriously injured and cannot wait until the next day. And when he sees that he insists on this, Zenos takes the opportunity to charge a little more to cure him. And since the guy is in no position to complain, he simply throws a bag full of gold coins in Zenos' direction and asks him to start the healing procedure right away. After all, for him, all that money should already be enough. However, Zenos says that in fact that amount is still not enough. Upon hearing this, the aristocrat informs him that that amount of coins is already greater than the market value, therefore, it should already be enough. However, Zenos informs him that he is actually a kind of clandestine healer who does not follow the laws and much less a stipulated market value. So, Zenos decides to trade his slave in exchange for the rest of the money he would charge her. And since the guy doesn't care at all about his slave, he accepts the deal immediately, saying that Zenos can do whatever he wants with her. And well, after the purchase, Zenos talks to the girl and finds out that her name is Till. Furthermore, Zenos notices a strange spot on her belly and then uses his healing magic on that spot, thus removing the stone that was doing that to the girl. And upon noticing that he is capable of doing so many incredible things, Till becomes fascinated by his powers. However, Zenos informs her that he is not that spectacular, since any healer can do exactly what he does. However, Till remains suspicious and says that he has abnormal powers. Having said that, Till ends this discussion and thanks him for having cured her. However, Zenos makes it clear that she should repay him with work and not just gratitude, and so he takes her to look for a specific type of plant for him. And as soon as the girl finds what he was looking for, Zenos thanks her for her good work and says that her tasks end there. So he tears up the contract he made to have her as a slave, leaving her free to follow the life she wants, because now she is no longer of service to anyone. Upon hearing this, she decides to just go on with her life normally until she finds out what she really intends to do. However, she asks to see him next time to tell him what she has decided to do with her life. At this, Zenos reminds her that she can always come to him when she gets hurt. After all, he is still an underground healer. Well, after returning home, Zenos finds the other three girls still bringing the ingredients to make dinner, and so he decides to sit at the table to wait while drinking some black tea. Look, I like this idea of overpower healer. I'll bring about 3 more episodes to see if the story is really good, so if you like it, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. I went.